everyone, welcome to this week's edition of the WyoSports video blog. I'm Robert Gagliardi, Senior Editor of WyoSports, here to preview the final football game of the season for the Wyoming Cowboys. Host UNLV Saturday at noon at War Memorial Stadium, and a long season comes to an end, really, for both teams, but for the Cowboys, enter this game 1-10 overall, coming off a bye week, just the one win in the conference over Nevada. Back in mid-October. Maybe, they're 1-0 against teams from Nevada. Maybe they can make it 2-0 on Saturday. And, again, the Cowboys coming off a bye week. And even though, having a bye week this late in the season, you played 11 straight games and then have a bye week and finish things up with one game, timing really wasn't good. But really, it was good in a lot of ways for Wyoming, because coming off the 38-3 loss at San Diego State on November 14th, this team was pretty beat up physically. Nothing like to keep guys out for the rest of the season. But just, going against probably the most physical team in the conference, they needed a day. They needed a week off, and it sounds like they utilized it well. Good mixture of practice, good mixture of time off, and talking to the guys and the coaches, they seem pretty motivated to play this final game, especially for 8 seniors, really only 6 seniors that are going to play on Saturday. And the spirits are good, and that's one thing that's been impressive with this team, despite the long season and the losses, and just, we all know the frustrations that have gone on. They've kept pretty good attitudes, at least around the media and stuff. I'm sure there's frustrations in the locker room and around, just around campus and this and that. But I will give Wyoming this. They've kept a pretty good edge about it through this whole season. So you're looking at this game, I think we know what Wyoming wants to do. They're going to want to run the ball. Brian Hill needs 57 yards to break the single-season rushing record for Wyoming. He's sitting at 1,399 yards now. I'm sure we'll see a lot of Brian Hill, but, the last 2 games, guys, Wyoming scored 10 points. That's not going to cut it. They've got to be more balanced on offense. I think the week off for quarterback Cameron Coffin will help, that sore shoulder. They don't need to throw it 40 times a game, but they need to be more balanced and keep UNLV's defense on its heels. If they can do that, I think gotta like Wyoming's chances. But you look at UNLV, first-year coach in Tony Sanchez, and in a lot of respects, a lot like Wyoming right now. Tony Sanchez wants to, kind of establish a hard-nosed, physical brand of football. There's been progress, but there's also been, there's been some, steps backward in a lot of respects. There's some injuries. I know the Rebels will be without 2 defensive guys for this game that are banged up, but there's weapons. One thing to keep an eye on, Blake Decker, the Rebels senior quarterback, will start this week. He's been hampered with injuries. They do plan to play the backup, Kurt Pandelich. He's a very good athlete, but Decker is more of he's obviously, as a senior, more experienced, a better overall thrower, kind of a better grasp of the overall game, but Pandelich is a more athletic guy. He can run, so that poses issues. Rebels have 3 running backs that have rushed between 382 and 664 yards. They can run it. They've got one of the best receivers in the conference, Devontae Boyd, just a sophomore, a little over 1,700 yards in his young career, the most for through a sophomore season in UNLV history. So there's weapons, and with 2 quarterbacks playing, I know Wyoming's planning for both, but that can cause some difficulties. And we'll see how that defense holds up that's, giving up the big plays and things like that. But when you boil this all down, when you come down to the final games like this, when there's really nothing to play for other than, obviously the competition and pride, it kind of comes down to who wants it more. And I do think Wyoming's going to come out and play well and want it more. I do think this game is close. I think you're going to look at something like Wyoming 27, UNLV 21. But I think that the defense will make enough stops, and I think we'll see one of the more complete games from Wyoming this one. I think they're going to go out and play well in this last game. I do know, talking to a lot of the seniors and a lot of the young guys on the team, they want to win for these seniors. So I think that'll be a pretty big motivation. And so I think the Cowboys get this last one and go into the offseason at least with a little momentum and at least something to smile about as they get into recruiting, off-season workouts, and all that stuff. So that'll do it for this week's edition of the WyoSports video blog. We'll do more of these as basketball season progresses, but I sure appreciate all your interest. For more University of Wyoming sports, see the Wyoming Tribune Eagle and Laramie Boomerang, and also WyoSports.net. And I hope all of you have had a very happy Thanksgiving and enjoyed this weekend's games, and we'll talk to you more during basketball season. Thank you very much.